move on and you learn the lessons.
Have you ever held a live event, like a speaking event, seminar, workshop, boot camp, that kind of thing, where nobody showed up, or more or less nobody showed up?
The least I've had is 3 people come to an event.
Yeah, and that's really weird because you've got all those seats there for other people and they're
Yeah.
empty, and you've got to act like nothing is wrong. But that's the thing that I really learned from working with so many musicians in the music business. Sometimes stuff just isn't promoted well. Sometimes people don't care. One time I remember when I was still playing, like nobody showed up at this gig we were doing. We were like, what the heck? And it turned out this was the day that O.J. Simpson got in a van or in his white Bronco, and the cops were chasing him, and the whole nation was watching watching this thing, right? So sometimes it's something like that. But yeah, that's what really separates the men from the boys. You and I went to go see an artist, and we don't need to name his name. I don't want to embarrass him, but you'll know who I'm talking about. And he, I guess, wasn't filling seats, and there were balconies, and they brought everybody down to the floor, and he got out there and he was talking about how the night before he'd played in front of 60,000 people, and this night there were only 2,000 or 3,000 people there, and
Yeah, it was a blow to his ego.
he was
for sure.
pissed. Yes, and it just made him look bad, but it wasn't a failure. It was an opportunity for him to really embrace those people if he had wanted to do that and say, come on, guys, get close. Let's do an intimate show. This is what I love. I don't really have an opportunity to do this. Last night I was with 60,000 people, and I'm used to having really big audiences, but this is an opportunity, and I'm going to give you the best show possible. And everybody out of there would have, they didn't care. They weren't making judgment. They would have thought it was a cool opportunity.
But I think the first thing is when I'm faced with failure, I look at, is it time to fail? And this is something that did happen to me when I ran my retail store years ago, is that it got to the point where I had to look at it, is it time to fail? Because a lot of times failures just happen to you and you don't have control. But a lot of times you do choose that, yes, it's time to let go of this.
So you're saying time to walk away, time to quit.
Is it time to walk away? And that's what I did with my retail store. Is it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I could have kept going, and I could have kept plugging at it, and I could have made it work in the way I wanted it to work, but it was going to take a couple years, and it wasn't providing the lifestyle that I wanted. I wanted to set my own schedule and travel and do my own thing, and instead I had to be there, and I had to manage employees, and I had to do what I didn't want to be doing, and it wasn't paying off in the way that I would have preferred. So I have to look at it as, is it time to fail? And is it time to move on to the next thing? And a lot of times we just hold on to things and we're gripping onto them and we're trying to make them work. But the first thing in failure is looking at making the choice. Is it time to let something go and move on to the next thing?
And I think it was great that you had everything that you wanted out of that business in mind before you actually started it, which kind of takes emotion out of it. Because when we're in the middle of something, we get real emotional. We want to have something succeed. We don't want to fail. But if you can look at the list that you had of what you wanted out of the business and what you're receiving from it right now, it can make those decisions a little bit easier, although I don't think they're ever easy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the things that I go through and looking at, is it time to fail? Because it's not easy. So you have to know it's going to be time to fail and accept the failure and move on. Is first, don't panic. If you panic, you're not going to get anywhere. That's survival 101 stuff. So take a deep breath. Second, listen to your gut instinct. This is something entrepreneurs have to cultivate from the very beginning that's going to help you in your business. Is, what does your gut tell you? Should you stick on the path that you're on? Should you keep plugging away? Or is it just not right, or not right now? And then third, I say, take the $1 million test and ask yourself, if I had $1 million or $2 million or whatever it is for you, would I be doing this business? Would I be implementing this idea? Would I be following through on this and continuing to do it? If no, ask yourself, what would you be doing? And then start to take the action steps to follow through, even if it means letting go of something that's been very near and dear to your heart and feeling like a failure on something.
I'm curious to know, I want to take it back to the musician story. I shared a minute ago with you about seeing a guy that's going through what he unfortunately considered a failure, but could have very well turned it into a success. Do you have anything like that you've been through that on the initial outset of it, it says, this is a failure, but you turned it into something great?
I think for me was the retail store. That was something that it wasn't a direct correlation, but it kind of was at the same time. Like I had to let it go and say, I'm going to let this business fail, or for lack of better words, just quit it and move on to the next thing. But it was what I learned in that business that I was really able to create a successful entrepreneurial career for myself based on what I'd learned from that. So I was able to extract the lessons and implement what I learned about marketing, about customer acquisition, about advertising, about PR, about all these things, and take all those lessons and put them in my next venture, which was coaching, and really build my business from there.
Well, and it's because of the coaching that people saw what you were doing with your coaching business, and that got you into doing what you're doing here with me at Red Podcast and what you do at GoFireYourself.com, because so many entrepreneurs were approaching you, wondering how you'd grown your business and how you could help them grow theirs.
That's the thing, is everything makes sense in the end. What about you? Have you had any big failures that you turned into success down the road?
I think my whole career, if you think about it, I don't know if I would use the word failure. I think of transitions, but because, for example, I was a musician, I got into the music business. Now, was my music career a failure? Yeah, probably. And because of what I have done with musicians, and because of what I have done to help grow their businesses and get them audiences and make them famous, entrepreneurs started coming to me, so I worked with more entrepreneurs. So I think of more of a transitional line than a line of failure after failure after failure. I think, just like you said, we take one thing, we take action on it, and that gets us to the next thing. We wouldn't have been able to go to step 2 directly. So I don't really think of myself. I'm more of the Thomas Edison of I just know 10,000 ways that don't work. And sometimes it's not really failure or even transition, other than the fact that we just kind of get tired of what we're doing and want to change.
And I think the key is one, that there really is no failure. As long as you keep moving forward, it's just learning lessons. You have to have that experimenter's mindset to say, okay, I'm going to find out what works. Okay, that didn't work. Cool. This works. That works. And go from there and keep moving forward. I want to give just 3 quick things that you can do if you're looking to turn your failures into success. I just want to do this real quick, David, so people kind of have a path to go along. Is first, reframe the situation. Look at it through a different lens. Is how can this teach me something? How can I learn the lessons? And that's second, is extract the lessons. Learn what you need to learn. When I gave that telesummit, I didn't just say, I shouldn't be a coach anymore. This is too hard. This sucks. Nobody cares. I said, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What could I do differently? Is this the right path for me? Is there a better path for me? And then the key, move forward. That is the secret right there to overcoming any failure and turning into success, is taking what you've learned and moving forward.
I think the biggest issue for people with failure is that they never get going in the first place.
That is one way to fail. If you never start, you've failed before anything. Right. Or if you quit. Right. Those 2 things are really the only way to fail. The rest of it's just experimentation.
Well, in quitting, let's look at quitting, because that actually might be a good thing. Let's just say, if you don't transition, if you don't quit, maybe that's failure.
Yeah. Well, quitting means if you just quit moving forward altogether. If you get stuck, basically.
So we'll say if you never start, you never get started, and you don't know when to quit, or you get stuck, which is probably a good reason to listen to Unstuckable, our sponsor for this episode.
Yeah, let's do some giveaways.
Stephen and Chris from Unstuckable been really great about supporting the podcast, and they are at unstuckable.co, or search for Unstuckable on iTunes. 3 giveaways today, Laurel. We do multiple giveaways here.
Yeah, we got a lot to give away. What's our first giveaway, David?
Let's give away a Blinkist subscription. I love Blinkist. We've talked about it before. If you're a reader, but maybe you don't have enough time for all the books that you want to read, these are great summaries. Take 15, maybe 17 minutes each, and they'll give you the high points. If you're a big idea person like me, you'll really love that. And you want to pick that one?
Yeah, I got the list up right now of our subscribers. And if you're not on the list to subscribe, you can go to redpodcast.com/giveaway, sign up there. So I'm scrolling through. What about Ashley Scott?
Ashley Scott, congratulations. You've got a Blinkist subscription from the guys at unstuckable.co.
All right,
Chris
what's our next
Steven.
giveaway?
All right, I'm going to give away another Money on the Table audiobook. This is a book that I did a little bit ago, and this is ways for you to make more money with your existing business. And I got a problem here, Laurel. I don't know how to say this guy's last name.
All right,
I'm going to try it. It's Mike Provencher.
All right, we'll go with that.
All right, Mike.
We'll email it out anyway, so Mike will know.
Yeah, Mike, because we got to know where to send all this stuff to.
Sorry if we butchered your name, Mike.
And let's give away one more. This is a book that I love, and I was actually just listening to another audiobook that he did today called War of Art. Stephen Pressfield, you've read his stuff, and it's fantastic.
I can't get enough of his stuff.
Great. And he's got a book called Turning Pro. We've got a paperback here that we want to send out. This is really, if you're feeling stuck, Turning Pro, I've not only read this book, I've listened to the audiobook probably about 6 times. When I was finishing up the last book I was writing and I was stuck, wasn't unstuckable at that point, I put in Turning Pro, and I listened to it again and again and again. This guy is amazing. So you're going to love this book. And the winner for the Turning Pro copy is Bill Conrad. Congratulations. If you want to get in on this, redpodcast.com/giveaway is how to do it. Bill, Mike, Ashley, if you'll email us at hello@redpodcast.com, that will expedite us getting this stuff out to you. Thank you very much.
And thanks again to Unstuckable for being our sponsor for all the amazing giveaways today. They are fantastic. We've given their website. We'll have it in the show notes. So check them out if you haven't already.
That's it for us. Red Podcast. It stands for Real Entrepreneur Development. We appreciate you being here, spreading the word, subscribing on iTunes, leaving us a review, and showing up every time we show up. Thank you very much. We will see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.